Hello everyone, my name is Bowen and I will be discussing food security, whereby I came up with a proposal to help solve the problem of food security and nutrition in Colorado, with my focus being Denver. So my research this summer was very eventful, whereby I visited several farms and research centers like the Halong Flowers. I enjoyed basically learning about Colorado from people. I studied the vegetation cover. I also studied the geography and various fruit trees. So my research was a success because the people were very welcoming. All those people I attended to interview were very welcoming. I made friends. I got to taste the cuisine. I also got to appreciate the people and the culture and also the history of the people and how agriculture has developed over the years. However, my research didn't come without challenges because, as you know, the terrain poses huge challenges because of the Rocky Mountains. Also, some of the respondents were very uncooperative, and then it was hard to conduct surveys during the hot weather, and access to some institutions was difficult. So, in conduction of my secondary research, I also realized that about 870 million people in the world face nutritional deficiency, and also about 30% of Americans face the same threat, and the demand for food is likely to rise by about 75% in the US by about 2050. So narrowing down my secondary research, I realized that Colorado tends to face about a threat of about 16% of the households lacking adequate food, with 19% of the Coloradoan children facing food insecurity, and about 12% of the people face the hunger threat, which is very. Narrowing down my secondary research, I came to realize that about 12.1% of the Coloradans face the hunger threat, with 19% of this context being children, and about 16% of the households in Colorado lack adequate food for their survival. As you can see, this is a graphical map of Colorado, whereby to the north it borders Wyoming and Nebraska, to the east Kansas, to the west Utah, to the south North Mexico and Oklahoma, with the capital being Denver, whereby our institution is based. So my concerns in conducting this research were based on climatic change, especially global warming, increased animal husbandry in Colorado in comparison to reduction in crop farming. Also, the government has been diverting a lot of river water to urban areas, reducing the available water for farming activities, and also poor nutrition in Denver is a major concern. Personally, about 90% of the people I've met at least love food, and over the years I've noticed that food and nutrition trends have been deteriorating. So I decided to do this thing which will be useful to the society and which will create sustainability in terms of food and nutrition. I also love what nature offers, especially in the world for plants. I also believe that one of the reasons why I'm on this earth is to make it a better place, as much as the institution gives me an opportunity to do this and contribute to the society. I also believe that plant nutrients have been reducing in our meals every day, whereby we need to do something to increase the amount of nutrients in our meals. So ever wondered how plants are able to survive without human intervention? This is because they can thrive in ecosystems whereby they depend on each other for various reasons, with some of the plants being suppressed, with others being favored by these conditions. So various crops can be grown in the same plot and thrive together. So in conduction of my research, I derived an ecosystem with fruit trees such as the apple, avocado, and the mango, pest and disease control trees and bushes such as the bucks or baby jams, legumes such as the cowpeas, tubers such as Irish potatoes, and vegetables such as the kale, cucumber, and aubergines, which will also incorporate groundnuts. So from my research, I came up with a symbiotic relationship whereby plants will depend on each other for shading, with tall trees providing shade for shrub plants, pest and disease control. We have soil improvement with nitrogen fixation bacteria like Rhizobium from legumes. Then we have pollination, and then we have support for climbers. So I kept mentioning symbiotic plant husbandry, and this is a concept that describes crop farming whereby intercrop plants tend to create a micro-community within which they can rely on each other for various needs, allowing them to flourish. Just like in the previous slide, I talked about support, pollination, and shading. You all need to look at the example that I gave in my presentation, whereby you can see there's a tree, and this one is a fruit tree, as you can see, which is basically the mango. And then we have spinach, we also have other leafy vegetables, we also seem to have coriander, and there is mulching for the tree. So in actualization of this proposal, it requires the selection of an ultimatum, that is the plot area. Then the soil analysis needs to be conducted at UNIPAF, then recommendation for the most suitable crops based on research. Then we need preparation of land, also collection of sustainable fruit tree seedlings from the research nurseries. So in defining the success of these projects, we will basically incorporate perennial crops, biennial crops, seasonal crops, whereby fruit seedlings will be first planted and tended for at least 3 years, at least to obtain maturity or a certain degree of maturity. And then gradually, we will introduce other plants based on their time of maturity. Additionally, we will need to monitor the garden closely to observe growth rates of various plants. We need the conditions to be optimum for optimum growth. Then we need manure from chicken and cattle farms. And then we also have to mulch the trees to preserve moisture, which will reduce the rate of irrigation. So for the success of this proposal, we will need to prune the trees so that they can attain a reasonable height. We will also need to plot the fence for security purposes. Then we will irrigate by drip irrigation, since water will be conserved, by mulching. And in case of diseases, infected plant parts of the general plants will be removed to secure the others. So my proposal has numerous advantages, but I'll just touch on a few of them, whereby this ecosystem will yield produce ranging from fruits, tubers, and vegetables, and then there will be reduced human input, since plants will sustain each other in different ways. And then the produce from this will be sold off and raise money to sustain similar projects.